welcome to Indus News Live from Islamabad. I'm Hira Mustafa and these are the headlines. In India, the protesting farmers are observing nationwide strike after blocking main roads, railway tracks, markets and businesses. The strike marks 4 months of farmers' agitation against the BJP government's 3 controversial farm laws. Opposition leader Rahul Gandhi has also announced to support the farmers' Bharat Bandh protests. Yemen's Houthi rebels have once again attacked a vital installation of Saudi Arabia's state-owned oil giant Aramco in Jazan. Saudi Energy Ministry says one of the reservoirs at the petroleum products distribution station caught fire after the attack. The Saudi-led coalition says it has also destroyed 8 explosive-laden drones fired towards different Saudi cities by Houthis. North Korea has claimed the missiles it launched Thursday were a new type tactical guided projectile. Pyongyang state media said the weapon system's warhead weight has been improved to 2.5 tons. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden has warned Pyongyang of consequences if it escalates matters. China says it has imposed sanctions on British individuals and entities that spread lies and disinformation about Xinjiang. In a statement, the Chinese Foreign Ministry said the curbs target 4 entities and 9 individuals. This comes days after the UK imposed sanctions on China over alleged human rights abuses in a western Chinese region. Brazil has registered a record 100,000 coronavirus infections in a day, with its caseload crossing 11.7 million. Mexico has become the 3rd country in the world to top 200,000 COVID-19 deaths. Pakistan has registered over 4,000 infections, the highest in 9 months, while 63 more people died from the virus overnight. The global number of coronavirus cases has surpassed 125 million, with more than 2.7 million deaths. Well, these were the headlines. News in detail coming after the short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now the news in detail. In India, the protesting farmers are observing nationwide strike after blocking main roads, railway tracks, markets and businesses. The strike marks 4 months of farmers' agitation against the BJP government's 3 controversial farm laws. The 12-hour blockade has greatly affected Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh states. Additional contingents of police force have already been deployed in the wake of the shutdown call. Opposition leader Rahul Gandhi has also announced to support the farmers' Bharat Bandh protest. 11 rounds of talks between farmers and the government have failed to end the deadlock. More than 250 growers have died since the start of their agitation on 26th of November last year. Yemen's Houthis have once again attacked a vital installation of Saudi Arabia's state-owned oil giant Aramco in Jazan. Saudi Energy Ministry says one of the reservoirs at the petroleum products distribution station caught fire after the attack. The Saudi-led Arab coalition says it has also destroyed 8 explosive-laden drones fired towards different Saudi cities by Houthis. It said the attacks also attempted to target the universities of Jazan and Najran. Earlier, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken hailed the Yemeni government's support for a nationwide ceasefire. In a call with Yemen's Prime Minister Main Abdul Malik Said, Blinken reiterated Washington's support. Meanwhile, the battle between coalition forces and the rebel rages on for the control of Yemen's Marib region. North Korea has claimed the missiles it launched Thursday were a new type tactical guided projectile. Under the UN Security Council resolutions, Pyongyang is banned from testing ballistic missiles. North Korea's senior leader Ri Pyong-chol, who oversaw the test, said, "The new weapon system is of great significance in bolstering deterrence against all sorts of military threats." Pyongyang state media said the weapon system's warhead weight has been improved to 2.5 tons. This makes the missile capable of carrying a nuclear warhead. It said the two missiles accurately hit the target, set in the water 600 kilometers off the east coast into the Sea of Japan. The missiles were the country's first ballistic launches in almost a year and the first since U.S. President Joe Biden took office. Biden said the U.S. remained open to diplomacy with North Korea, despite its missile tests, but warned there would be responses if Pyongyang escalates matters. China says it has imposed sanctions on British individuals and entities that spread lies and disinformation about Xinjiang. In a statement, the Chinese Foreign Ministry said the curbs target 4 entities and 9 individuals. Those targeted include former Conservative Party leader Ian Duncan Smith and the Conservative Party Human Rights Commission. These individuals and their family members are banned from entering Chinese territory or doing business with Chinese citizens and institutions. Beijing warned London of more of such measures if it chooses to go further down the wrong path. The move follows a coordinated set of sanctions imposed by the US, the EU, UK, and Canada against China. In Myanmar, anti-coup protesters have staged more rallies after the military shot dead 9 people on Thursday. According to an advocacy group, 320 people have been killed since the military seized power on the 1st of February. In Mandalay, protesters marched in front of a civil disobedience movement banner in the morning. Candlelit protests took place overnight in the Mandalay and Sagaing regions, as well as the Karen and Chin states. This comes a day after the US and the UK imposed sanctions on conglomerates controlled by the military. Meanwhile, the World Bank has warned the country's economy could slump 10% this year. Germany has extended its mission in Afghanistan as part of a NATO mission until January 31, 2022. Lawmakers approved a new mandate which allows the Germany military to keep up to 1,300 troops in the country. The extension goes beyond an April 30 deadline that the U.S. agreed with the Taliban for the withdrawal of forces. The new U.S. government is still reviewing the agreement, so it is not yet clear how long NATO troops will stay. The German government has warned that a premature withdrawal of NATO troops could jeopardize peace talks. It added that NATO troops would need to prepare for Taliban violence if they stay beyond April. U.S. President Joe Biden has said it will be hard to meet the May 1st deadline to withdraw troops from Afghanistan. He was addressing his first press conference since assuming office. However, the president said the U.S. has no intention of staying in Afghanistan for a long time. His comments come amid a push by the U.S. to build momentum to kickstart stalled peace talks between the Taliban and Kabul. Biden added that China wants to become the most powerful country in the world, but he won't let it happen. The president also spoke on several issues ranging from the pandemic to immigration. Brazil has registered a record 100,000 COVID-19 infections in a day, with the caseload crossing 11.7 million. Mexico has become the 3rd country in the world to top 200,000 deaths from the virus. Globally, the virus has claimed more than 2.7 million lives and infected 125 million people. More in this report.
The second spring surge of the coronavirus pandemic has taken the world by storm. Even though the U.S. claims to be running a smooth and effective inoculation drive, cases in the country continue to swell. President Joe Biden says he will double his vaccination goal to 20 million shots during the first 100 days of his administration. The U.S. has also announced $15 million in coronavirus aid to Palestine, a sharp reversal in policy from the Trump administration. In Canada, Moderna has delayed 500,000 vaccine doses due to a backlog in the quality assurance process. The Brazilian variant is now battering Latin America as nations witness the deadliest spikes in cases.
A sampling taken throughout Lima showed that the main variant today in Lima, at almost 40%, is Brazilian variant. We identified it in Loreto. We identified it in other places also. Weeks ago, we identified just one case of this variant in Lima that was controlled, but now we have from the sampling 40% of the cases produced by the Brazilian variant.
In Europe, the third wave of infections is now raging, with the B.1.1.7 variant dominating new infections. French authorities have announced to put 3 additional regions under tightened restrictions for 4 weeks. EU leadership has agreed to step up the production of vaccines in Europe amid a vaccine export row with the UK. The bloc's chief has called on AstraZeneca to catch up on its promised deliveries to the EU before exporting doses elsewhere.
We have to and want to explain to our European citizens that they get their fair share. And therefore, the second principle is that companies have to honor their contract to the European Union before they export to other regions in the world. And this is, of course, the case with AstraZeneca.
In Asia, COVID-19 is once again ravaging India, infecting a whopping 100,000 people over the past 6 days. South Korea has again extended social distancing rules for 2 weeks as daily new cases hit a 1-month high.
Pakistan has recorded the highest rise in new coronavirus cases in a single day since July 2020. The Health Ministry reported more than 4,000 infections in the past 24 hours. The new cases take the national positivity ratio to 10.3%. Officials say 63 more people lost their lives overnight. The death toll is approaching 14,100. Nationwide, more than 645,000 people have been infected during the pandemic, of which some 591,000 people have recovered. The ministry says more than 2,700 people are in critical condition across the country. Turkey and Russia have agreed to work together to prevent violations of a ceasefire in northern Syria. Ankara's defense minister and his Russian counterpart discussed events in Idlib in a phone call. Hulusi Akar told reporters Turkish officials were urging the Russians to abide by the agreements. He said terrorist groups need to be taken under control as soon as possible. Earlier, Ankara expressed concerns to Moscow about a recent flare-up of violence in Idlib after Russian jets hit a hospital. Meanwhile, Turkey denied reports it has agreed to open 3 crossing points between opposition and regime-held territory. In India, 10 people have died in a fire that engulfed a mall housing a hospital treating coronavirus patients in Mumbai city. Officials said more than 70 patients with COVID-19 infections have also been evacuated. Authorities say the rescue operation is still underway and the causes of the fire is being investigated. It isn't yet clear if any of the victims were COVID-19 patients. Renowned Pakistani dramatist and writer Hasina Moin has passed away in Karachi at the age of 79. The cause of her death was not immediately announced. Moin was a breast cancer survivor and held several accolades under her belt. She was awarded the Pride of Performance by the Pakistani government for her services to performing arts. She also holds the distinction of penning Pakistan's first original script, Kiran Kahani, in the 1970s. And now it's time to take a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. In the U.S., at least 5 people have died as several powerful tornadoes tore through northern Alabama state. Emergency services said the twisters also left dozens of people injured and destroyed entire neighborhoods. They said the tornadoes downed trees and power lines, leaving tens of thousands of people without power. Authorities remain unsure of the full extent of damage as severe weather inhibits search and research efforts. Authorities have warned that a large severe weather cell will continue battering Alabama with high-velocity winds, hail, and tornadoes. African elephants living in forests and savannas are increasingly threatened with extinction. They are on a red list of species in trouble. prompting conservationists to call for an urgent end to poaching. More in this report.
A new assessment by the International Union for Conservation of Nature underscores persistent pressures faced by the two species of elephants in Africa. In a survey, the Swiss-based body raised alarm over the possible extinction due to rising ivory hunting.
These results are due to decline in numbers that have been observed over several decades, with forest elephant declining by 86% over a period of 31 years, and savanna elephants declining by 60% over a period of 50 years.
Loss of habitat has also become an increasing threat.
With regards to the land issues, land degradation, habitat loss, those ones are things that need more focus, because it's a silent killer. It happens in a way that people don't realize.
Despite the overall decline, some populations of forest elephants were rebounding due to successful conservation measures by Gabon and the Republic of Congo.
Bolivians marked the traditional Aymara festival of ALASITA, with the event getting a COVID twist. Locals snapped up tiny vaccines, little negative tests and gels in hopes that Aymara gods get them through the pandemic. This report will tell you more.
ALASITA, which means buy me in the Aymara language, sees people buying lucky charms related to their wishes for the year. A local artisan fair accompanies the festival in La Paz with stalls dealing in miniatures. The tradition establishes that people should purchase a miniature of the one thing they need the most during the coming year.
Because of the pandemic, the ALASITA festival was delayed. Now we have all health measures in place, even with the eco course. We had adapted it with a face mask, antibacterial gel, so to disinfect it. Faith, like in all years with Ekako, the god of abundance, to whom we ask of everything and to buy everything with a lot of faith.
Those hoping for professional or educational success could buy mini certificates denoting various achievements and qualifications, whereas those wanting to marry can find mini rings or wedding certificates. Thanks to COVID-19 vaccines, many South Americans are hoping that the pandemic will soon be over.
I asked for good health. I asked for the things that we all ask for: money, a house, other things. For us, the most important thing is our health and our loved ones, and for hopefully this pandemic to be just a bad memory.
This year, many bought mini COVID vaccines in the hope that they are not far from getting vaccinated.
Bourses in the Asia-Pacific region are trading higher. Investor confidence has been boosted by U.S. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell's remarks. Powell said the economic recovery is expected to be faster than expected due to accelerated vaccine distribution. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index is leading the gains, jumping over 1.5%. Stocks in mainland China have also ascended over 1.5%. The Nikkei 225 in Japan added nearly 1.5%, while Seoul's Kospi has gained over 1%. Meanwhile, the ASX 200 in Australia has also gained close to 0.5%. Now it's time to have a look at the weather update across the globe. For the latest updates, you can follow us on social media at indus.news.